Hey ho, short update from my side. I'm still playing around with our state machine format. We're using xstate because that's a working library, but it doesn't express all the things we want to express. So we basically still need some more, and we're using some like glue and helper code around xstate to currently make that work, but it's still a bit verbose. Yeah. So the thing is, there is something called a context. Every state machine can have a context in xstate, and we want to express that. And the way we can is by saying every state machine has a name, it has one or more states it's in, and it has some data. And we might use JSON schema to keep it compatible with the citizen project and hopefully other projects to define what kind of data we're dealing with. And that's kind of like a little mini database each state machine can have. And the idea is to save that to the database and restore it from the database in case the process crashes. Now, core is, or maybe we'll name that feed, is somehow a way to maybe access historic messages, because over time that data might change and we might want to point back in time. Now, other than that, maybe there would be like an empty state that is always active, and the underscore symbol would be to receive messages from itself or from the state machine itself. Now, the numbers stand for something that might trigger like a timeout. 0 means it just directly triggers. And here is state 1, where we might define messages. Maybe we'll do it like this, or we'll do it like this, which means in this case, if the sender is foo and the event is a1, we might define the message schema here, but it's not completely sure because maybe it's better to do it inside of each possible event. So you would always basically define the message schema here. And then because when you enter a state through a message, some processing might happen, and afterwards we transition to one or more states, and at the same time we send one or more messages out that can include a message to itself. And that's kind of what I'm toying around. I'm almost done. Like, it looks a little bit freaky, but I think most cases are covered. One thing that is important is the messages say their type, and we can define a schema. But if we want to send messages, we might want to reference data from a received message or data from the current state. And that's basically what I'm busy with. And now let me show you the thing that I'm rotating. Oops. So there are certain kind of little helper languages, and those include many things. My current favorite is called JSON pointer. It's the most minimal one. It doesn't have many features, but maybe it has just enough features. There are other more verbose things like JSON patch, which do a lot more, and you can even manipulate data, or JSON query, which lets you query data in an expressive way that we could specify inside the state machine, but maybe it's more than we need. Pointers are really, really simple and hopefully enough. And I'm going through all of them, and there's a lot of varieties of query languages and all kinds of stuff from different, I don't know, they're coming from different backgrounds. And I'm still trying to see if maybe JSON pointer matches, because we need to be able to specify in the state machine what data we will access from our previous received messages and the current context data that the state machine knows. And because it should be simple and easily readable, I want to keep it as minimal as possible. So JSON pointer is so simple that will be just ideal, but I have to go through many scenarios to make sure that this is really enough. So as you see, there's many open tabs, and I'm trying to go back and forth and trying to specify some examples to settle that, because that's kind of the last open issue.